All right, looks like we're live. So we're supposed to be here with a guest, but I've got Half Heartless Heathen here. We're going to talk about gender and social equality and inequality. We were actually having a conversation earlier about the riots going on in Minneapolis. So Justin, did you want to start at the beginning of that, or just kind of pick up where we left off?
I mean, yeah, we should start at the beginning of that then, since people wouldn't really know what the fuck we're talking about otherwise. I still don't even know, like, when I heard there were riots. I mean, I didn't even look into it at first because I don't know, my brain just went like that happens every few months or so. Like, it's just gonna be the same as always. Dies down after a little while, nothing happens. So I didn't even look into it, but I kept seeing crap on Facebook. I genuinely don't even know why the guy was originally arrested. Our mom was looking it up earlier, and she said that some people called the cops because like someone used counterfeit money, and all they could describe the guy as was black. So I don't even know if they got the right guy.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Honestly, I didn't even look into the original arrest or anything.
Yeah, but like I told her, like, I don't even fucking care if the dude was literally guilty of murder. He was not resisting arrest.
Yeah, the guy was unarmed, and I've only seen bits and pieces of the video. I haven't even seen the whole thing. But I've seen pictures from like 3 or 4 different angles. And like, yeah, the cop should not have been doing that. And my wife, her dad's a cop. Her dad's a black cop. So he's kind of like caught on all sides on this whole issue. And he said there's absolutely nothing in any of the police training that says you do anything that cop did.
Sure, and I'm sure he knew that. I'm sure he knew exactly what he was doing. Because up until now, it really has seemed like being a cop is a free pass for murder of black people. I mean, you might get fired, sure. But, I mean...
Yeah, he was fired. He was fired, like, right away.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, if we basically treat being a cop as one free pass for one murder, then that's going to attract a lot of psychopaths.
Hasn't it already, though? Like, this isn't the first story that we heard here.
Yeah. And that's my point. So now, like, thankfully, this guy was actually arrested and charged with murder. I'll get back to my exact thoughts on that. But at least this time, presuming this actually goes through, he was actually charged. So that might actually set a precedent, hopefully. But
hopefully,
he's only been charged. That does not necessarily mean convicted. They may have just charged him with murder to try to get the riots to die down, and they might just try to push a plea bargain or even attempt to just get him off entirely while nobody's paying too close attention. Because honestly, it wouldn't be the first time that the justice system has done something like that.
Right. And honestly, with arresting him, it's too late. That should have been the first thing they did. Now, granted, they did fire him, which, yes, if a cop does that, he should not be a cop anymore. That's a no-brainer. But the other no-brainer, you know, the thing that is usually attached to murder, is you fucking arrest them. I don't care if it's a cop. I don't care if it's a wealthy politician or any of that type of shit. Somebody fucking kills somebody, you arrest them.
Yeah, and I mean, like, the fact that there were 3 police officer witnesses to it, and it took them like 4 days to arrest him, shows that they had originally no intent to arrest him. It is strictly because of the riots that they arrested him.
Right. And I'm glad that protest against this actually worked. That at least shows that this did something. But come on. That shouldn't be... We shouldn't have to burn buildings down to get you to arrest somebody for murder.
All right, now it's time for my hot take.
Yeah,
I hope
you
people
have a
take the
hot take.
Yeah, I hope people take the right message out of this. I hope people don't think, oh, riots, burning down random buildings, looting, that's what got their attention. The most recent thing, at least that I saw reported on, the most recent thing that happened prior to the arrest finally happening was they burnt down the fucking police station. Or at least part of it. Like they lit a precinct of the police station on fucking fire.
Yeah, Precinct 3, I believe.
Um I don't think riots or looting on random stores that had absolutely nothing to do with anything is the way to go. That's just punishing people that did not have anything to do with it and can't do anything about it. Senseless riots aren't going to actually solve anything, but historically rebellion works. And rebellion needs to be targeted, and lighting that fucking police station on fire was an act of rebellion, and that worked.
Yes. And this was part of our conversation earlier. Riots, I have my opinion on riots where they're less of a targeted rebellion and it's more of just a collection of people that think they're at the absolute end of their rope. There's nothing else that they can do. They're desperate. They want something to happen. So they rebel against the system in the only way they think they can because they don't think organized rebellion is actually going to work.
Then, and I mean, I know you seem to think that I throw this label around too much. They're idiots. Because historically, it very much has worked repeatedly. And just senseless acts of aggression isn't going to do a goddamn thing. All that's going to do is make you look like the bad guy in the eye of the public, and it's going to make it very easy for the people you're attempting to quote unquote rebel against to paint you as the villain.
Right. But again, think about it not from our perspective. We're looking from the outside in. These are the people that are probably part of the Black Lives Matter protests that we've had over recent years. None of the violent ones, I'm talking about the peaceful ones. Or they're part of other organizations where they're all about peaceful protests. These are the people that will quote MLK and stuff like that. They want peaceful protest. It's not like these people woke up that morning and said, "You know what? I'm going to go burn down a fucking police station." That's not what was going on. Riots often spark out of peaceful protest, where you have a bunch of angry people and they weren't planning on wrecking the whole fucking city, but they all show up and then something happens and then everybody just goes nuts.
That's a good segue.
We actually saw that at the beginning of the Revolutionary War.
That's a good segue into the thing I wanted to bring up next, because what a couple people have told me, every time I say that I'm against like the senseless acts of destruction and looting, what people like to bring up is that I don't know if this is 100% confirmed, but a lot of people are saying that it was actually a cop that like started instigating that and people just joined in. I don't care. I don't care if that's true. We are fucking grown adults. We can think for ourselves. Nobody gets a free pass for anything just because someone else is doing it. If you are attempting a peaceful protest and you see someone else then smashing buildings up and stealing shit, that should not then tempt you to just like drop the peaceful protest you're doing and be like, all right, cool, now I gotta go steal some shit.
Well, no. That's not usually how it goes. Okay, so let's say we have a cop that he's planning on sparking a riot, okay?
Okay.
You've got what is supposed to be a peaceful protest lining up probably somewhere in the vicinity of the police precinct. Now you're going to have an army of cops out there. And I've seen quite a few YouTube videos. Several live streamers were going to the area. There were lines of cops blocking people from getting down certain streets. And there were mobs of people that were just like face to face with these cops. So you're going to have stuff like that. Now, the reports that I've been seeing of this cop that supposedly instigated a bunch of stuff, he was dressed head to toe in like riot gear, tactical boots, wearing all black, like bulletproof vest, gas mask, all that type of shit. You couldn't identify the guy just by looking at him. But the thing is, a whole bunch of the protesters were dressed kind of in the same way. Not gas mask, some of them. But you get that guy to maybe like throw a rock at cops or something. Now the cops think that they have the right to then respond, and you see where this is going. So just everybody starts fighting with each other. Rioters now go out, they just start wrecking shit.
Okay, see, you just glossed right past the part I have the biggest problem with. Rioters just start wrecking shit.
Okay,
like, at what point is that justified? When did that ever become justified?
I'm not saying that it's justified. I'm not saying I like riots or anything like that. And this comes back to my original point that I was making with you earlier. This is just a response to bad shit happening and people coming to the end of their rope. And I think worrying more about the protesters or the rioters is taking away from the actual problem.
I don't know if it is, because exactly like I said, it's just making them look bad. And it's just making it...
But hold on. What's the solution? What do you get out of focusing on the rioters?
What do you mean?
What's the goal for focusing on the rioters? Yes, rioting is bad. We can all agree on that. But what do you get out of focusing on the rioters?
I don't get anything out of anything having to do with any of this. None of this in any way is impacting me. But I'm still entitled to my fucking opinion.
Right. I'm not saying you're not.
The 4 cops that were there got fired. The one that was kneeling on the dude's neck and killed him is being charged with murder. End goal, done. Everything on that end that we should have wanted to be done has happened. Now why can't I focus on all the stupid shit that the rioters were doing? They don't get a clean bill and a free pass for everything they fucking did just because one dude got murdered.
I'm not saying they do.
Okay, and yet you're criticizing me for having a fucking opinion.
No, I'm criticizing the fact that that's the first thing that comes up, rather than we need to get back to the original problem of we need to fix how often this happens with the police just going totally overboard with this type of stuff.
I disagree that that should be the first thing we focus on, because that's not the immediate pressing issue. That dude, the 4 dudes got arrested, and the one dude that actually did the murdering has been charged with murder. This immediate issue is currently being dealt with. That city's still on fucking fire right now, is it not?
Right, and we
then
actually have people working on that.
Issue. Is it not?
What is the pressing issue that we're not addressing?
It's not so much that it's not being addressed. I mean, obviously, there's a whole bunch of cops out there trying to deal with it right now. The thing that bothers me is a lot of people are saying it's perfectly fucking acceptable.
Not that it's acceptable, but it is kind of understandable. Riots happen, and they've happened all throughout history, and they've always been attached to some sort of systemic problem. Like I've said before, this is not the first time we've heard this story. So, because this isn't the first time we've heard this story, why don't we actually look at what's causing this to reoccur so often and fix that?
Okay, fine. And believe it or not, I know most people seem to have trouble grasping this fucking concept. We can address multiple issues at once.
Right. I just don't think focusing on the rioters in particular and condemning rioting is particularly helpful because that's kind of a no brainer. Going out
Clearly,
and mindlessly wrecking shit is bad.
clearly, it's not a no-brainer. Because a lot of fucking people are giving them full support to just go wreck random shit.
Okay, if who in particular are you talking about?
I've already told you. I mean, I don't want to fucking name drop on this because it's someone I actually know. But I'll just say a friend's sister um had shared this thing on Facebook, and I know
Oh
just
yeah, yeah,
sharing
yeah.
something on Facebook doesn't quite count. But the fact is, she shared something that someone else said, meaning someone made this fucking statement, and it got popular, and it's out there that black people have. I'm paraphrasing, but trying to quote it as closely as possible. Black people have a right to burn down a nation that they built. So basically, the idea is because a person is black, they have the right to just burn shit, to just
Yeah, that
start
that's
destroying
that's dumb.
things because slavery happened one time. I know
Yeah,
that's downplaying it, but
in my
yeah,
opinion, yeah, that's a hotter take than your hot take. Yeah, that's just fucking stupid.
and that's a popular opinion out there. And the other one that's pissing me off is people comparing the destruction of property shits to the Boston Tea Party. Like I already said, the Boston Tea Party was specific. It was a rebellion against the Tea Act. They were very specifically rebelling against that. So what did they do? They dumped some fucking tea because that was actually relevant to the damn point that they were trying to make. That is exactly why I support the arson of the police station. That was relevant to the point that they were trying to make. That is the kind of thing that people should be doing, not going around and bashing up random ma and pa shops or even the fucking Target. I get that it's a giant corporation, but what did they have to do with it? Why is Target, of all fucking people, getting punished for a cop murdering someone? Where's the damn correlation there?
Well, there is no correlation. This is what happens in riots. And when a bunch of crazy shit starts happening, more crazy shit starts happening. I mean, people are not in their right minds when they're in the middle of a riot. It's not like you have a bunch of people going around saying, hey, what should we smash up and why? And then someone
And
says, Target. And there wasn't a group of people sitting there
you want
like,
you want
no,
another hot
Target didn't actually do anything to us. That's not the rationale of these people while they're there.
yeah, because there
I'm
is
not saying
you want another
like, okay, but these people aren't going out there in the middle of a riot and like having a rational thought as
yeah, that's
to
my point.
what they should do next.
Because I genuinely don't think most of them care. I think a lot of people are out there just for an excuse to smash shit up and steal shit because they know they can get away with it.
There's probably some, and that's actually why these riots end up perpetuating in the ways that they do. But the original protest was not so that a riot could happen.
Sure,
It's not like they planned on going out and just wrecking Target and AutoZone that day.
and everyone's an individual, much like our conversation about the founding fathers. They're not a fucking hive mind. Each individual protester slash rioter, whatever, has their own fucking consciousness. Some of them looted. I'm sure, maybe most. I don't know. I'm sure many of them did not loot. I'm condemning the people that did go smash up random shops that had nothing to do with it and burglarize random fucking shops that had nothing to do with it But likewise, I am then still, again, in support of the people that actually lit the damn police station on fire. Some
Hey,
people did the right thing, some people did the wrong thing.
so I'm trying to look for something a little more tangible than just one close friend of ours that posted something on Facebook. I'm sifting through Twitter right now on the Minneapolis riots hashtag, and I'm not really finding anybody saying, yeah, riots or anything like that. I'm seeing like videos of other cities where people are protesting and just like mobbing out in the streets with their signs and everything and just yelling. But I'm not seeing any other riots where other cities are on fire. I'm not seeing like anybody saying yeah, riots, and I'm sorting by top because that'll usually sort by the stuff that's either being interacted with now, interacted with frequently, or is like the most popular that's getting all the likes and stuff. So I'm sure they're out there, but I'm not really seeing anybody with the same sentiment of, oh yeah, this is all perfectly justified. So I think that that may actually be a minority position. I don't
I
think
don't care
there's
if it is a
really much
minority.
here.
The fact that there are a lot of people
Yeah,
is
but
still in
how many is a lot? Like if this one friend is the one that sparked
off this
this,
one post
then
alone.
what else is there?
666,000 off this one post alone. Fine, here. I'll send you a link if you want to pull it up or something. Since you're going to Twitter, there's a tweet. 161,000 retweets, 666,000 likes. The exact quote is Black people have every right to burn down a country they built for free.
Yeah, okay. So this, yeah, this is fucking dumb.
That tells me over 500,000 fucking people that just happened to see this one tweet agree with that sentiment.
Yeah, this is dumb. But check this out.
I don't even care if it's a minority. I don't care if the
The
1% of the opinion. That is still a massive amount of people, and that's a problem. That's a problem when that many fucking people believe that this is perfectly rational and justified.
yeah, this is a hot take that has every right to be ratioed on Twitter. This is fucking stupid.
And of
I,
course,
I don't think I don't think this really even needs any explanation as to why. Black people have every right to burn down a country they built for free. So, first off, no. And also, no, they didn't. Yes, slavery happened. I'm not denying that. But black people did not build the country. I'm sorry. That's not really how it works.
and I'm sure people that agree with this guy would probably then tell you that you're racist for saying that.
I'm more than happy to have him on.
Oh, this guy?
Anybody. I'll have anybody on. I don't really care. If somebody wants to come on YouTube and tell me that I'm racist and why, I'm more than happy to have that conversation. Come on my show. Out me as a racist, please. I dare you.
I don't know the context there. I'm gonna be honest. I haven't watched anything with TJ in it for years.
Yeah, what did TJ say about this? I'm sure TJ said something about this. Whenever something this big happens, TJ's got something to say about it. Assuming we're all talking about TJ Kirk.
I would assume so.
Yeah, and looking at all these replies, this guy's getting called out big time.
So hold on. Scroll back up. Sorry, I actually just saw it on the stream, so maybe it's a bit up.
Oh.
Keep scrolling. I'll tell you when it's up.
We're almost at the top. Yeah, that's the top.
Yeah. I swear I saw one that someone said people are getting raped now.
Oh yes.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, this one right here. People are getting raped now, dude. Is that what George died for? Women being violated? I mean, it's a riot. Shit happens in a riot. We know this. We've known this for thousands of years. Riots have happened for thousands of years. Ever since we've had collective society, we've had riots.
Doesn't make them right.
No, it doesn't make it right at all. But
I mean, yeah, there's a lot of negative things that just humanity is going to produce, but I'm not going to stop criticizing all of it. All right, Hyun says, I think generally speaking, he went the Carlin route. Oh, of course he did. I don't have a stake in the outcome. Yeah. TJ's gone very heavy apathy over the years.
I mean, I can sympathize with that position. I'm generally apathetic about a lot of stuff. If
yeah, but
Edith actually ends up making it in time to be on the stream, I really hope to have this conversation with her. I arrived at my gender abolitionist position out of apathy. I've since kind of built on that position. That's not the only place it's founded in now, but
I mean, I could definitely understand where that viewpoint will be born out of apathy, but I mean, much like with everything else, every other opinion I have, I think my views there come more out of like just I don't even necessarily want to say frustration because that seems like I had some sort of personal stake in it and I was getting fed up with something. It's more just like irritation, I guess.
Yeah, that's not where I was. I just honestly didn't really care enough to. No, it's not that I didn't care. It's that I've never discriminated like that. So when I heard about all the different stuff, I was like, okay. And I honestly don't really even see the utility in any of this. I think just treating everybody as people is just fine. So kind of how I came to my position. Like I didn't hear the thing with like the 1,000 different genders and think like, oh my god, no.
1,000 might be hyperbolic.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, this is how much I care about labels. I don't really fucking care how many there are.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, honestly, there's.
And I'm not going to discriminate against anybody for using any of them. I honestly do not care.
I wouldn't genuinely discriminate, but much like with, I guess, a lot of things, I'm gonna call them stupid. I'm not gonna like advocate for their rights being taken away or anything. That's ridiculous. Just
well, okay, I'll
handle so much stupid.
Where I'll say it's stupid is when they go to the extreme route, which is kind of what I've encountered online mainly. Just like Facebook comments, encountering some of these people on Twitter, where you have a a 1 or 2 sentence interaction with them, then you get blocked while being called names and you can't even participate in the conversation anymore. Just because you said something and then they looked at you and said, "Oh God, that's a white guy. You're privileged and you don't understand, so I'm gonna block you."
Yeah, this is why I always try
And
to
then
play up.
how do I ever end up understanding if nobody is gonna talk to me? This is why I'm
This is
very
why
excited to have Edith on, because this is somebody that's actually going to talk to me and actually tell me if there's something that I don't know and why I'm wrong if she thinks I'm wrong.
will she? I mean, when was she supposed to be
I
here?
I don't know.
Has she even responded to you yet?
No, it looks like she's not off of work yet.
I wouldn't get your hopes up on that one. Then we might have to reschedule.
Yeah, possibly.
Might have to rename this stream, or
Probably.
just call the next one Part 2.
Yeah, I'll just put a big 2 at the bottom of this right here.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Put the
I'm also not opposed to streaming again in the middle of the night. Still awake.
Hmm.
But yeah.
I guess since it seems like she's not going to show up, I'm gonna bring up the points I was holding off on, and I mean I guess I'll just repeat them if she does end up showing up. But all right. So I didn't want to be accused of like pulling up some random fucking list from like people that don't genuinely believe in this stuff. So I went to what is this non-binary wiki, and I think I found this through nonbinary.org. Um, so this is a list of non-binary identities, and it's actually relatively short compared to other ones I've seen, but even then, it has some stupid shit on it. Now, ones that people always like to bring up, as if it somehow helps their point, is they try to bring up like how other cultures like already recognize these kinds of things, as if I care. Like, I guess in India and like Native Americans both had these like additional genders, but it's like weird spiritual stuff. And I mean, if it's
Yeah.
weird, I'm already gonna say it's dumb.
Yeah,
Like I'm so
that's one I
weird.
wanted to bring up. That's one I wanted to bring up to Edith too. I honestly wanted to know her take on those because my wife recently got a book. She does tarot. She's into the spiritual stuff. I'm not. We're kind of opposed on that. But she was recommended this book called Queering the Tarot, and they have a very very expansive, inclusive acronym that just looks very very irritating to read over and over again. I don't remember how many letters it had, but
It's like the LGBTQ, and then like there's a two in there somewhere, and like two T's or
yeah,
something.
yeah, that one. It was like somewhere between 15 and 20 characters
Yeah,
long or some shit like that.
yeah.
Um, just like looking at it over and over because they used the whole thing every single time it would come up, and it was on the page like 4 or 5 times. That just on its face looked very very irritating. I understand they're like going for inclusivity, and they
Okay,
keep
before
expanding this inclusive acronym that doesn't
yeah,
even like stand for anything. They're just adding letters onto it.
from what I originally understood,
They
that's why
well,
we gotta be.
here's the funny thing. They already have human history's most inclusive acronym. If it's even called that, I don't even know what it would be called. But they already have the human history's most inclusive like string of letters, and they keep trying to make it more inclusive because people say it's not inclusive enough.
Here we go. LGBTQQIAAP. Oh no, I've seen a longer one. And that one's 11 letters, but I've seen a longer one.
Yeah, but it was ridiculous. And yeah, like Hyun says in the chat, 2SP is two spirit. That's one that I immediately looked at and was thinking, what the fuck is two spirit? So I looked it up. Um, two spirit is apparently a Native American thing, or at least this is what I found. I don't know if there's more associated with it, but it's a Native American thing where apparently what they did historically was they definitely had gender roles in their society. The men did these things, the women did these other things. And then occasionally they would have a man that did woman things, or they had a woman that would do man things, and they assigned them these new genders. They had a third and fourth gender. They were also female or they were also male, but then they would also be this other thing. And that, I don't know if the Native Americans termed it two spirit. I think they did. But it seemed to me, I didn't look into it very deep, but it seemed to me like they had this binary view of how gender roles worked. And then they did something that, granted, for the time, was rather progressive, and they were inclusive of these other people that broke the norms. But they didn't want to break the norms so much by just saying, you know what, fuck it. Everybody can do whatever.
Yeah.
They instead said, okay, well, you're weird. We're going to call you this, and we're just going to, like, you're a dude. You're useless at hunting, but, like, you weave baskets, all right, so I guess go hang out with the girls. That's what I get out of it. I could be wrong, but that's
So
what it read like to me.
I've said this before, like, because all these people that are always advocating for the use of all of these different pronouns, like, universally, I doubt you could ever find a single one that will not agree with the fact that gender roles are bad and we should not have gender roles. Like, people should just be able to do whatever they want and not, not have one thing called, feminine or masculine, right?
Right.
So to me, all these, if if gender roles existing is the wound, then inventing more genders is just slapping a band-aid on it. And you're just repeatedly slapping more and more band-aids on top until you have 50 band-aids stacked on top of each other, instead of actually stitching up the fucking wound.
Right. And, like, I've never been a particularly big dude. So growing up, I was kind of made fun of for being skinny. And when I worked in the warehouse, I was made fun of for being skinny. I surprised a few people because I could actually do more just utilizing simple leverage and physics than I looked like I was capable of. I ended up hurting my shoulder. Physically, I probably shouldn't have been in the warehouse as long as I was anyway. I don't think my body was quite built for it, but what are you going to do? But it's never really bothered me, but I know there are people who are definitely discriminated against because they don't fit stereotype. Like, I've always been, like, not man enough because I'm not big and muscular like a man should be. And Justin, I think you've probably encountered a little bit of this yourself. We both have basically the same build.
Yeah, and on top of that, I have half a fucking heart. So, like you said, you could actually surprise some people. You were actually relatively athletic, lithe, but athletic. I have never been.
Right. But then,
I've never given a shit about trying to be manly or anything.
No, neither have I. Socially, it's never really done anything to me. Like, I acknowledge that this stuff happened, but it never wounded me the same way that I know it's wounded other people. And granted, I never really got it that bad. I was a skinny dude. That was basically the extent of how much I was made fun of. But I never really gave a shit, so it didn't really do anything to me. But I do know that there are other guys that are much more feminine. I went to high school with a guy who was actually on my swim team with me. Very, very feminine dude. Everybody thought he was gay in high school. And just like immediately going into those stereotypes, he talks with a much higher pitched voice than you would expect out of a man of his size. He got along with all the girls great. He was very feminine. He was kind of into girly things. So everybody just immediately stereotyped him. Oh, that dude, he's gay. Totally gay. And look, he's on the swim team. He wears a Speedo with all those guys. Totally gay. Nope. Straightest dude you've ever met. You actually talked to him?
Hold on.
Not gay at all.
What is the straightest dude you've ever met? How can one be more straight than another?
Definitely not attracted to men. Like, could not be any more less attracted to men, could not be any more attracted to women. Like, that was where he was at.
Phrase like that just sounds like overcompensation, but I mean, I never knew the guy. I don't even know who you're talking about, so I guess I can't.
You've probably met him, at least seen him, but
I don't know. I just take.
I don't like naming names for.
Okay, I don't know. I take issue with that idea of like, you could be more straight.
But
else.
I mean, semantics aside, I apologize for my poor word choice, but I think I got the point across. But he was made fun of by virtually everybody that even knew of him for being gay. And it got to him a little bit. And the funny thing is, like, more girls actually started hanging out with him because they thought he was gay. So I thought that was kind of ironic. But one of my best friends all through high school, I didn't even know while we were going to high school that he was gay. I found that out a couple years later, after we had all graduated. He lives in San Diego now. But I never knew the entire time through high school. Apparently, he found out he was gay sometime early middle school. Just never told anybody. Never came up in conversation. Apparently, he wasn't shy about it. It just never came up in conversation. I also don't care. It never came up in conversation. We talked about other shit. So I remember when a friend of mine told me that, they were all surprised, and they're trying to like think back to interactions with him in high school to see if they could figure out if they missed a sign or something. I was like, who the fuck cares?
And also,
he's
like,
gay. Like, also, why is that a big deal?
Yeah,
now we live in a socially conservative area, so I guess to some people that is a big deal.
But like, short of like literally checking out a dude's ass in front of you, what signs could there be? It does not change your personality. I know some people like to go over the top with it and make their sexuality their personality. But
I mean, yeah, and I've met people like that as well. But like, the way I arrived at my position, I kind of always held that position. I just didn't really realize it because I never really thought about it. And when I finally did think about it, I didn't know the word for it, but I was kind of just like, no, I don't care. I never actually learned the term gender abolitionist until very recently, only in the last few weeks or so. Because I've never really addressed gender. And the few times that I would try to interact with like feminists online and everything, I would always get shouted out of the room anyway.
Yeah, I mean that's a big problem I often have with the SJW types, where like it's like they don't realize they're hurting their case. Like deep down at the root of it all, I'm technically on the same side as them. Like on paper, we want the same things, but
Right.
they're they just they attack everyone. They dismiss the support of everyone and they go after everyone to the point where they have no allies except for the people just as fucking toxic as them. And even then, once they have no one else to yell at, they cannibalize.
What
And
do you mean they
I
cannibalize? Because I know there are a bunch of different factions and some of them are actually opposed to one another.
exactly, like eventually, once they run out of people to yell at that are like extremely opposed to them, they just start hating each other and they start calling each other out
Well,
over the
okay, like
fucking.
who are you talking about though?
Honestly, I don't have names.
No, not names, just like groups of people or like describe the positions of a person who attacked the positions of another person. Give me a hypothetical.
I don't
Fake
remember
names.
exactly what it was over, but I do remember like SJWs turned on J.K. Rowling,
Oh yeah, I've heard about that.
who has obviously tried to pander to them as much as possible.
Yeah, but isn't what was the thing that she did? Didn't she say something about trans people?
I don't even remember.
Let's see. I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, I thought I'd take a while.
Found an article on the HuffPost. J.K. Rowling speaks out over quote accidental tweet about transgender woman.
Accidental?
But yeah, that's what a lot of these people do. Fuck, Trump just did it with his stuff that we were talking about last night.
What you do? Like lean over to grab something, accidentally put her hand on her keyboard, and it just happened to spell out this entire tweet and hit enter?
Let's see. J.K. Rowling has spoken out
Oh,
after tweeting and swiftly deleting a post which contained a sentence misgendering a transgender woman.
is that all it was? Like a legitimate accident, and people just smelled blood in the water and people still hate her for that.
Well, Howie Hawkins, the guy running for the Green Party nomination for president,
Mhm.
he I guess accidentally misgendered Chelsea Manning, and apparently he has apologized for it and explained that at the beginning, before her transition, he was actually heavily involved with her case, and at the time he knew her as what was his name at the time? Bradley?
Don't even remember. I get your point though.
But he he came to know Chelsea Manning as whatever her name was before, and as a man, because at the time she was. I guess he had like no sleep, flew somewhere, and then scheduled an interview right after another thing, and
Awake as fuck, mistakes happen, people slip.
yeah. So
As kids, we all accidentally called our parents the wrong type of parent.
yeah,
Like
shit,
it fucking
my girls still do it with
yeah.
myself and my wife.
I've heard them do it. I've heard them call our mom mommy before. I've I've heard
Oh,
that they've called me dad.
yeah, they've actually come back from your guys' place, and they've called me grandma. Yeah, it's like they only have mental space for one authority figure at a time or something.
It happens.
And they just
Say the
forget to
wrong thing.
unload the name or something.
People make brain farts. It happens. People
Yeah.
should not pounce on a person and hate them for all eternity because they accidentally said the wrong word. That's retarded.
Yeah, looking through this thing about J.K.
Twice.
Rowling, it
That is the
doesn't look
third
like it
time.
has much substance.
No. This is literally the point I was about to make. That is the third time you have said Rowling, and I keep correcting you. It's Rowling. But I'm not gonna despise you for it.
Hell, you won't. You're a fucking grammar Nazi.
I'm gonna correct you.
Deep down somewhere, you hate me a little bit for that.
Now I've corrected you. Now you know. Despite how it's spelled, it's pronounced Rowling.
Rowling.
Now if you do it, I have every reason to get upset. You know, like, okay, my favorite is actually, why is their name escaping me? Oh my god, I'm completely drawing a blank on this. Caitlyn Jenner.
Oh yeah.
All the people that like just purposely would say Bruce Jenner just to be dicks, and my comeback was always like, can we hate on her for the vehicular manslaughter not being transgender?
Yeah.
But like, fine, she's a terrible fucking person with terrible fucking opinions. But can we hate her for that? And not just like be a fucking douche and insist on calling her a dude? It's fucking juvenile. But if someone that like knew of Caitlyn Jenner as Bruce Jenner, because what, she was like a fucking Olympic athlete or some shit, I think. Like,
Yeah,
she was legitimately famous before, and some people did know her as Bruce Jenner, and some people would occasionally slip up and just say Bruce Jenner. Fine, that's an honest mistake. We can correct them and move past it. I guess at this point,
I wasn't really keeping up with the Bruce Jenner stuff when it happened. But yeah, I'm trying to find something on J.K. Rowling.
Wow, go fuck yourself. Again, we can hate on J.K. Rowling for all the stupid shit that she has retconned. Honestly,
yeah,
Professor McGonagall thing pisses me off. Out of everything, like, I don't care if you retroactively make Dumbledore gay. I don't care. It didn't affect anything. She literally retconned McGonagall's age, and it pisses me off.
Yeah, I mean, I can't fault you for feeling that way, because the stuff that happened with Star Wars really, really pisses me off.
Yeah. Oh, and that pisses me off too. Trust me, even more, because I was a much bigger fan of Star Wars than I ever was of Harry Potter. Like, I liked Harry Potter, and I mean, I still like the books. I like, at least she finished those first 7 books before going on to ruin everything. If I just look at the book universe and ignore whatever the 8th one was, the Time Turner thing, that play that those two dipshits wrote. If I ignore that, I just look at those first 7 books, then it's fine. If I just don't pay attention to the movie universe, it's fine. McGonagall is still 70-something. Dumbledore can be gay. I don't care.
Hey, so back to that Two-Spirit thing.
Yeah. So like that, I don't think that belongs. Like with everything else in that ridiculously long acronym,
that I do not see as a gender thing. I see that as a spiritual / religious thing.
Well,
And I'm gonna.
well, here's my question there. So I'm put in kind of a weird spot because I actually do take a confrontational position against stuff like religion, especially when it comes to politics. I want the politics and religion to stay the fuck away from each other.
Okay.
But when you start talking about religion and spirituality as it influences gender, then I really have a problem with it, because in order for me to actually believe anything associated with the spirituality or religion, I need some substance there. And I've yet to be shown any. So when people are just taught that, oh, this religion or this spiritual thing is correct, I kind of wonder, are they just told that something like this two-spirit thing is possible, or that they are one, or whatever? Is that just like assigned to them through social means? Or is this something that is actually like in their head?
I don't know,
And
because I've read about it and I think it's stupid, but I am yet to meet a person that actually identifies as two-spirit. Thankfully, I'm also yet to meet an otherkin, which seems pretty similar.
yeah, the otherkin thing also, I don't know if it falls under this umbrella, but will at my fingertips.
Keon says kinda socially assigned, but again, I mean, I still want to source on that. And either way, I don't care. I mean,
The two-spirit he's talking about?
Yeah. I genuinely don't care either way. My issue with it is the spiritual thing. Like, prove that part first. If that is the basis of it, prove that part first.
Right. Yeah, so otherkin on Wikipedia, otherkin claim their identity is genetic. While others believe their identity derives from reincarnation, trans species dysphoria of the soul, ancestry, or metaphor. That's kind of all over the place, but most of it appears to be from some type of religion or other spirituality. All of it appears to have some sort of root in the supernatural.
I'm at a loss
except for this genetic thing that's just
I don't know what's
false.
stupider. People thinking that they're the reincarnation of a fox, or people thinking that they're literally genetically part fish. I don't know what sounds more retarded.
Yeah, the genetic one, that's just fucking dumb. You don't know your science, go back to school.
Hey, we share 50% of our DNA with a banana, man. Whoa. Sorry if that was loud.
Okay, if you want to go down that route.
Oh, it's just a joke.
I about guarantee that's not where they're going with it.
Yeah, otherwise it wouldn't be otherkin, it'd be like omnikin.
Right.
Oh,
Let's
well,
see.
I guess
the source on Wikipedia, the source on Wikipedia is the Psychic Vampire Codex, a manual of magic and energy work. So
hey, how come all the otherkin are always something that they think is cool or cute? You know, there's a lot of wolves, there's a lot of cats, there's some dragons. No one's caterpillarkin.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's because, like, if it was genuinely Like if spiritual stuff was real and it was genuinely a spiritual thing, one would think there should be an even chance of them being the reincarnation of any giving living thing. And yet it always seems to be the things that people think are cooler or cuter. It's never the stupid random shit.
And also, how are you otherkin of a dragon? Because we don't have those.
Yeah, I remember, like I said, I saw some documentary on it, and I remember someone saying that like they believe that they're like the reincarnation of animals from a different dimension.
Oh, so apparently, otherkin largely identify as mythical creatures, with others identifying as creatures from fantasy or popular culture. Examples include angels, demons, dragons, elves, fairies, sprites, aliens, and cartoon characters.
Yes, some people identify as fictional characters. Like specific fictional characters.
Yeah. But these ones, I think these ones need to see a therapist.
Yeah.
I'm not discriminating. I think there may legitimately be something going on here that, at the very least, we can glean a little bit of information off of how the mind works.
And you know what's funny? Like, okay, for instance,
Hyun is apparently surprised at that.
Okay, so gender dysphoria is an actual thing. I know. I think they now no longer categorize it as an actual like mental illness, probably just for SJW brownie points, but whatever. At one time, and I do still believe gender dysphoria was a mental disorder. And I still think it should be categorized as such. Like, the issue I take is when people then think that I'm then discriminating against them by saying that. I'm sorry, do you think, like, where did I say that I meant that I discriminate against people with mental disorders? No, I think they should get help.
Yeah,
and
I don't discriminate.
And you know what I think
far from it.
And you know what I think the help for gender dysphoria is?
Transitioning.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I've actually seen Blair White talk a lot about that, and she has other views that are very bad. But what she has said about transgender people is mostly correct. She has a couple takes in there that aren't quite right, but
well, it's all subjective. I mean, despite the fact that they're my opinions, I would struggle to say all of my viewpoints are correct.
Oh no.
In fact, I have many that I know are wrong.
No, I'm talking like she actually has a few takes on transgender issues that are actually factually incorrect, fly in the face of data that we actually have from medical professionals.
Okay, yeah, that's one thing. That's not really even an opinion, that's just being wrong.
Jan says, not mentally retarded, just held back. Oh, she has conflicting and ultimately retarded views. Okay, yeah. Yeah, like the way she talks about how people come to needing to be transitioned is somewhat flawed. I think a lot of it has to do with how she's got her conservative blinders on, because she's not opening herself to a lot of the social aspects that you actually need to address when you're talking about this stuff.
I mean, Could conservative people not then say that you're looking at everything with liberal blinders?
No, because I'm not looking at it with liberal blinders. I'm actually looking at it as very inclusive and open to all of the data. If you bring me data that shows me that I'm wrong, I'm willing to admit that I'm wrong.
I think a lot of conservative people would say that too. I think that they just don't think that they're wrong.
Yeah, just when you actually present them with the data, they'll make up some sort of reason why that data is irrelevant.
And they'll believe it. And they'll, when they find
they are
something
also wrong.
that they try to bring to you, and when you disprove it, I'm sure that they probably think that you're pulling something out of your ass too.
Right. Well, okay. One that I was watching recently on climate change. It was a response video to PragerU. They referenced some data from 2014 about the Arctic ice caps. And the year 2014 was very, very good for them because it played right into what they wanted to say. The thing is, all of the data following that year disproved absolutely everything that they said.
You said this was PragerU?
Right.
And then
and it was a video where they actually like referenced data.
Also, good lord, like, are we just at the very least are we going to reference PragerU in every fucking stream we do?
Should that be the tradition? Every video has to have a PragerU reference.
Sure, we'll see how long we can keep that going.
But let's just follow through. Let's see what PragerU's got going on today.
Oh my god.
Hey, these guys are a gold mine for easy targets.
Gold. Okay, dude. Oh, speaking of gold, this is like a random aside and more just like an interesting thing I want to tell you that has nothing to do with the stream. But did you know that, like, in the solar system as a whole, gold is actually more rare than platinum?
Yes, I knew that.
Extremely abundant.
Sorry, I had to mute for a second. That included you going out to the stream too. Could you say that again?
Oh, I said, and also, despite being extremely rare on Earth, neon and argon are also extremely plentiful. I don't know about iridium. Neon.
Oh. All right.
Generally speaking, the heavier the element, the more rare. Not always. I mean, some elements are pretty light, still really rare. You'll get weird spikes like iron. I've never even heard of that. Astatine? What the fuck is that?
Oh, PragerU has a funny one on socialism versus capitalism on Twitter. Why is socialism better than capitalism? Socialism work in Brazil and Venezuela? Venezuela is a funny one that they always like to bring up. I know that we actually have to rehash it here as well, but everybody has already pointed out that the U.S. and I think a few other countries as well have such heavy sanctions on Venezuela that they weren't able to make anything work. It wouldn't matter if they were socialist or total communist. It wouldn't matter if they were capitalist either. In fact, they were actually trying to leverage their oil. Jan says Venezuela isn't socialist. None of these countries that PragerU will list are actually socialist.
Is Denmark socialist? Is democratic socialism still socialism? Does socialism really help the poor get richer? Okay, hold on. That point. Is democratic socialism still socialism? If you're I don't know if they actually make this argument, but if the argument is democratic socialism is not the same as socialism, and then they're gonna go on to shit on socialism, I mean, I assume this is a response to the surge of popularity that Bernie has gotten over the last several years.
Yeah, but the funny thing is these people will call Nancy Pelosi socialist. But yeah, is Denmark socialist? No, Denmark is not socialist. Every single time they do this, they build up a straw man of what socialism is and then tear that down. And half the time, they don't even do that right. They lose against a straw man that they build. They don't think so, but
I genuinely want one of these capitalist dick suckers to try to tear apart the world of The Giver. Like the most fucking communist a society could ever get. I would really love to hear them try to dissect it.
So if you were a capitalist and you had a vested interest in continuing capitalism moving forward, how would you deconstruct The Giver?
Oh, if I'm just trying to if I'm just trying to take a shit on The Giver, I mean, I guess the easy target would be the lack of free will. You know, how people do not choose their spouses, they do not choose their jobs.
Right. That's where I would start too. Yeah, as far as a liberal society goes, at least the way that things are now, we need individual freedoms with the way that the human mind works and the way human society works. I eventually want to have the talk on stream of human society going forward. Probably do that in one of the Future of Humanity streams.
I definitely want to be there for that.
You've been saying that a lot lately. You've been on every single one so far.
At this point, we should just rename the channel.
Sure. I've actually been looking for a name for the channel because right now it's just my name. I don't know,
dude, it's
exactly what to call this.
It's alliterative. Bird Brothers. Come on,
man. Yeah, we do that.
Bird Bros.
I already have a bunch of bird roles as all the stuff in the Discord server. Yeah. We're already on theme.
Yeah. Us being brothers makes this easy.
Yeah. I would just need you to definitely be able to be on very, very often because I want to do this consistently.
For the foreseeable future, that's possible. But when I go back to work after the whole COVID shit's over, I mean, then it's going to depend on my schedule. Presuming they put me back on the schedule they used to have me, I for sure cannot do weekends. At least if you're going to be streaming this late, which you probably are.
No, this late probably isn't going to be a continuing thing. This one was actually only because we were supposed to have Edathon. Which, we're an hour and 20 in, and I haven't heard back from her, so...
Yeah, I think it's safe.
Probably should wrap it up, and we'll probably have Gender and Social Equality Part 2. Sometime later. I know she said before that Saturday doesn't work, so tomorrow won't be Part 2, but... For anybody watching, we'll have Part 2 with the planned guest at some point.
For anybody watching, you mean Heon?
Yeah. Heon, for you. For you specifically. Keep an eye out for Part 2. We'll be here for you.
Our only fan, at least. Well, I guess even that's in the sense. I don't even know if he considers himself a fan.
I mean, he's stuck around for quite a while.
True.
Gotta like us at least a little bit to stick around for this long.
Nothing else.
Let's see, Hyun, calling you out. 1-man poll. What do you think?
1-man poll.
Watch, I'm talking to nobody. He's already gone. Oh, LOL. He's still here, so we at least have his attention. But yeah, one thing that I actually forgot to mention at the beginning, with the Discord server, I do have the link in the description. Whenever we do these live streams, we're going to be in our live stream voice channel. Right above that in our Discord, we got the stream text. So if anybody actually wants to participate in the stream as well, just tag me in the stream text, and we can get you set up with the role to get into the live stream too, and you can have a chat with us. Think of what? Think of how we're doing. How do you like the content?
I mean, I know we're bare bones basic right now. We don't even have that nice little overlay shit yet. We'll get that sorted out.
Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm learning a little more about the streaming software every day. Yeah, for tonight, I think we're going to wrap it up.
All right.
So, this has been fun. And keep an eye out for part 2. And